It's Thursday the 7th of May across Greater Manchester. This is Channel M's Lunchtime News and these are today's headlines. The fight to get back the Christie's missing millions goes to London.
It's our money and we should get it back. You know, they're giving it back to individuals but not to charities, which, you know, I think is a disgrace.
Also coming up, a Channel M exclusive with the internet tycoon worried his reputation's in tatters even after being cleared of sexual assault. And why a visit from the Loch Ness Monster's not gone down well with a group of school pupils.
I think she's a rubbish nutter. I think she's the worst phony ever.
Good afternoon. First, this lunchtime, a coach full of campaigners is on its way to London right now, fighting to get millions of pounds of cash handed back to the Christie. The world-famous cancer hospital had it invested in an Icelandic bank which collapsed last year. They're getting ready to hand in a 100,000 signature petition to Downing Street. Channel M's Beverly Walkden was there early this morning to wave them off.
It's our money and we should get it back. You know, they're giving it back to individuals but not to charities, which, you know, I think is a disgrace. And the money's been given by people who've worked very hard to earn it. And I think, you know, it's only fair that we should try and do our utmost to get it back.
It was all donated, it's charitable funds, and at the end of the day the government gave the banks the money back.
I think people have worked hard to contribute and to get that money together, and yeah, it's frustrating.
I'm going to London today because at the age of 28 I was diagnosed with advanced cancer of the lymph system, and Christie's gave me excellent care and treatment and hope for the future, which was a very scary time. But they told me the treatment would make me infertile, but exactly 3 years to the day of being diagnosed with cancer I was told I was 7 months pregnant. So if it wasn't for Christie's I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have a 6-year-old boy called Dylan. Every year Christie Hospital treats 40,000 people, so my story is just one in 40,000.
Poppy, I would say, is a product from Christie's Hospital, because when I was diagnosed in '89, I was advised to have my sperm saved at the fertility clinic. So 17 years on, Poppy was conceived from sperm that was frozen. Well, I hope the Prime Minister will see the support we're getting from, not just from the Northwest, but also from elsewhere in the world, that this is very important. You know, it's money that is meant for treatment. I'm an example of what benefits we get from this hospital.
So there they go, our Christie campaigners off to London to bang on the door of number 10 Downing Street and demand their £6.5 million research fund back. Beverly Walkden for Channel M News.
Police are investigating whether the death of a policewoman in an apparent road crash is murder. 30-year-old Claire Howarth was found with serious head injuries after a car ploughed into a tree in Bolton. We understand detectives are investigating whether she suffered her injuries before the crash, which happened at 2:30 this morning on Tottington Road in Harwood. A 26-year-old man who was driving has been arrested on suspicion of murder and is being questioned. It's understood he is a police officer with the Cheshire Constabulary. A convicted killer who went on the run from a psychiatric unit in Manchester has been convicted of raping a woman in an Irish hotel room. Michael Murphy escaped from a hospital in Prestwich by pretending to be ill. He'd already been convicted of rape and manslaughter in 1994 and had been detained indefinitely under the Mental Health Act. It took 10 weeks for police to track him down. He'll be sentenced in June. The cost of borrowing is staying on hold for the second month. The Bank of England's just announced its monthly decision and has decided to leave interest rates at 0.5%. Experts have predicted there'd be no change after several months of successive reductions. DNA profiles from innocent people are to be wiped off a national database, but only after 12 years. The rules are being changed after a court ruling decided the data from those released or acquitted could not be held indefinitely. But civil rights groups are still angry the information will be kept for at least 6 years. Well, with me now is Stephen Clark, who's been campaigning on this issue. Stephen, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. First of all, briefly remind us how your DNA, first of all, came to be taken.
Well, in the lead up to the Labour Party conference last September, I was arrested after taking a photograph in St. Peter's Square, quite innocently, but they evidently thought they saw me, someone thought they saw me taking a photograph of a manhole cover which had been sealed in something to do with the lead up to the conference. So I was arrested for on suspicion of causing criminal damage to the manhole cover, and then about 2 hours later released on that charge and rearrested on suspicion of being concerned with the commission, instigation or preparation of a terrorist act.
Now your DNA was taken, it was held. What makes you object so strongly to that being kept, even though no action was obviously taken against you in the end?
Well, about 3 reasons. First of all, it's a criminal database, and I don't particularly like being treated as a criminal. I'm sure you wouldn't either. If they want to treat everyone as a criminal, then they can take everybody's DNA. Why not? I believe there's a principle that I'm innocent until proven guilty. I don't know what happened to that. Then there's the question of what might happen if, again, if they're stupid enough to arrest me for taking a photograph of something I happen to be interested in, and holding me for 36 hours, and God knows what might have come of that. Who's to say? And don't forget the Birmingham 6 or the Guildford 4, that's always gone on in my mind. What happens if I happen to leave some DNA at what later becomes a crime scene, and then I'm arrested?
What do you make of the changes that have been announced today? Do you think they go far enough?
I was very disappointed. I thought that the rule of law was supposed to apply in this country. Well, I'm not an expert on the legal situation, but the European Court ruled that the government couldn't do this because it's a violation of my human rights and the human rights of all people. I wasn't even charged, never mind tried and acquitted. I wasn't even charged, no charge. So why are they holding my DNA for 6 years? I mean, in the United States, I'm not American, but I've been there, and you have a right to have it deleted. You just apply and they delete it immediately. So that's freedom, seems to me. We've evidently lost sight of it. The government just is not being constrained by the law anymore in all sorts of ways.
OK, Stephen Clark, thank you very much for joining us at this lunchtime. Doctors say a woman in Tameside is responding to treatment after tests confirmed she is suffering from swine flu. She's recently returned from Mexico and is being given medication at home. Her family are also being given antiviral drugs as a precaution. The total number of cases confirmed here in the UK now stands at 32. A search is on for anyone who saw 2 men injuring a police officer in Bolton. The uniformed PC had stopped a man who seemed to be drunk while riding a bike, narrowly missing hitting a pedestrian on the pavement of Folds Road. He turned abusive towards the officer and then a second man got involved. A struggle then ensued in the road with the officer ending up with cuts and bruises and damage to his left thumb. 2 people have been arrested and bailed. Manchester's House of Fraser store could soon be using its old name of Kendall's again. The store's new general manager's revealed he'd like to make the change after taking up his new job because so many people still use it. Gary Slattery says he'd like to create a Kendall's Christmas event and bring back some glamour and excitement to the store. Next, an internet tycoon from Bolton who's been cleared of sexual assault has exclusively told Channel M of his anger at how his reputation has been ruined. Yet the woman who accused him of the attack still has her anonymity. David Atherton was found not guilty of attempted rape and 2 sexual assault charges during a 2-week trial. He's given his only TV interview to our reporter Nina Warhurst.
What has been revealed in court is some of my private life, which is completely legal. And it's not dissimilar to the recent Max Mosley case. What he did was completely legal, objectionable to many people, but not against the law and done in private. That can't be clawed back. The national press, unsurprisingly and not unreasonably, ran great big features on the indictment with all the lurid stories of the indictment and a photograph and so on, and then ran very small pieces, in some cases no piece at all, on the acquittal. So you get, there is an unfairness there. Initially I thought releasing her name goes some way to redress the balance, because it allows me to tell a fuller story. There are details that put me in a better light, if only I was able to say something about the woman.
The family of a biker killed in a crash in Oldham have described him as hard-working with a passion for motorcycling. John Lee Quinn was killed when he collided with a car on Ripondon Road. His relatives are paying tribute, saying even though the 47-year-old came from a large family, he always found time to see them regularly. A 25-year-old man's been arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving and has been released on bail. British Gas is cutting its electricity prices. They'll go down by an average of 10%. The reduction will come into effect immediately and comes after bosses reduced their gas prices by the same amount in February. There's been a sighting of the Loch Ness Monster right here in Greater Manchester. The mythical creature has been in Salford supporting a charity group, but it seems the area's school children weren't too impressed.
I think she's a rubbish Nessie. Most of us think that Nessie's fake because they're pulling her on a boat. I think she's the worst phoneme ever. I think it's brilliant.
The mini monster events, I think there's going to be one at the end of June, 28th of June, at St Philip's Park in East Manchester. People to get involved and race and support and bring sponsorship money, hopefully.
The Loch Ness Monster has found its way down from Scotland to promote the first monster event, which will be running in Manchester on the 28th of June. It's a sporting event. First Group is a major transport provider, and we run the buses and the first Trans-Pennine trains through Manchester. And this is a family fun sports event which we do to assist in raising money for Save the Children.
Right, let's take a look at the lunchtime sports headlines now. With those details, here's Ian Irving.
Thanks, James. Well, incredible goings-on at Stockport County, where manager Jim Gannon and his assistant Peter Ward have been made redundant as a result of the club going into administration. The majority of the backroom staff have also lost their jobs, and the club's shop has been closed for the foreseeable future. Now, shortly after the news broke, fans gathered outside Edgeley Park and made their displeasure known.
The loss adjuster have been in and had a meeting with him, and he's not interested in people's lives or football fans. And when I told him the strength of the fans here, that when he came out of them offices tonight, that there would be a bit of a riot and he could be hung on Ardcastle Road, he said, "Where's Ardcastle Road? Ardcastle Road is here where we're stood." He's not they're not Stockport people. They don't appreciate how the fans are. They're not interested in people's lives. They're not interested in us people.
All we need to know is where's the money gone? We've had the biggest season ticket sales in history, the biggest home gate since 1968. We've sold all these players for millions. Where's the money gone? Nobody has come and said, where is it? Where's it gone? Where's all the money gone? We want to know all those responsible for this mess now. Not one of them are here. Where's all your suits now? Who swan around, shaking hands and go in boardrooms and have drinky winkies and all that.
Gannon joined the club from Dundalk initially as a caretaker manager and guided the club to safety on the final day of the 2005-2006 season, before leading them to a record-breaking run of 9 games without conceding a goal. In February, Gannon rejected the offer to become manager of Brighton, but it is widely believed the popular Irishman won't be out of a job for too long. And staying with football, Keith Hill's Rochdale entertained Gillingham in the first leg of their League Two playoff semi-final this evening. Dale welcomed back several players, including Adam Lafondra, Clark Kelty and Lee Thorpe. For Gillingham, keeper Simon Royce will replace Alan Julian, and Simon King is in for Mark Bentley. In the second semi, Bury travelled to Shrewsbury after extending the loan deals of Phil Jevons and John Welsh, who will now both be available should they reach the playoff final. Shrewsbury's Michael Jackson, out since February with a knee injury, is his side's only injury concern. In rugby union, Sale Sharks former coach Philippe Saint-André is one of the guests on tonight's Talking Sharks programme from 7 o'clock. And amongst other things, he explains just how he came about to be offered the job by Brian Kennedy.
Brian Kennedy rang me, he was in holidays. I don't know where. I say, please, Philippe, don't sign anywhere. I want to meet you. And he came. We spoke about the project of Sale. We spoke about a lot of things. And I came to Sale, and first year we won the Shield. Second year we won the league. And I passed 5 years fantastic in Manchester and with the Sale Sharks.
Fantastic day for Sale. Tomorrow we'll celebrate with our supporter at 12 o'clock, and it will be a very long weekend, I can tell you.
I want just wake up in the morning, and when I shave in front of the glass, I can see me and say, I am honest with my philosophy of life and about what I feel and what I think. I make also a lot of mistakes. It's important to try to not make twice the same mistake. But you know, in this job, you learn each day.
On to cricket now, and in the first test between England and the West Indies at Lords, Ravi Bopara's 118 saw England close day one on 287 for 7, with Fidel Edwards taking 4 for 53, in what was an indifferent performance by the home side. And a short time ago, England had moved on to 331 for 7. Lancs, meanwhile, have moved on to 189 for 7. Mark Chilton was out for 55, in reply to Worcestershire's 167 all-out, which yesterday saw Glenn Chappell take 6 for 34, ably assisted by Sajid Mahmood, who chipped in with 4 for 65. The Bellevue Aces will be hoping for a reversal of fortunes tonight when they face Peterborough, with boss Chris Morton looking to name the side that narrowly lost against Poole. Into football again, and Joe Corrigan is hanging up his gloves after spending the last 4 years coaching with West Brom, while Wigan's plans to sign striker Mido on a permanent basis are dependent on whether Middlesbrough wish to keep Marlon King, who is on loan from the Latics. Absolute merry-go-round. I don't know. More sport later on at 5 o'clock, but here's James now to tell you what's coming up in the rest of the programme.
Ian, thank you very much. Still plenty to come between now and 1 o'clock, including reaction to changes being proposed to primary school tests, and we meet a couple who are celebrating 65 years of marriage.
Recently, he's been on his own in hospital and I've been in hospital, and it's only recently that we've got together in a care home.
You're watching Channel M's Lunchtime News. Welcome back. There are more of our reports online at channelm.co.uk. Log on now to see the details of the plan to trial ID cards here in Greater Manchester before anywhere else in the country. And also we speak to the girls being hailed as heroes for saving the life of their sister whose dress had caught fire. That's at channelm.co.uk. A ceremony is taking place to mark the completion of the first stage of building a new wing at Tameside Hospital. The topping out celebration marks a key milestone for future patients there. With more, here's Beverly Walkton.
We're here at Tameside Hospital, where officials are marking a milestone in the building of a whole new wing for the hospital. And here's the woman who's overseen the project. What does it mean for patient care?
Oh, it means an awful lot for patient care. We strongly believe that privacy and dignity, the patient experience and patient safety come top of the list at Tameside. And this building allows us to make sure that we're building something for the modern 21st century. We're going to have a new children's unit in there, which brings together, centralises all children's services in a dedicated, custom-built area. New theatres, day case and inpatient and endoscopy. Outpatients at the moment, there's 8 different sites on site for clinics for outpatients, so it brings it all together.
It's not ideal, is it? And also these walkways are going to be really handy as well, aren't they? Tell us about those.
Well, at the moment, if you come in as a patient who's going to be admitted to Ladysmith into our medical assessment unit, you have to wait for an ambulance to take you there. But there are going to be new corridors and bridge that means we can move about in a joined-up hospital, which we've not had before.
Fantastic. So that's going to be much more of a nicer experience for patients here at Tameside Hospital. Well, join us later when we'll be bringing you the official celebration of this new hospital wing.
Thanks, Beverly. Children's and Schools Secretary Ed Balls is expected to announce that science tests for 11-year-olds are going to be scrapped. He's due to make a statement in the Commons about that and also about the future of SATs exams in maths and English. Ben Bland reports now from a school in Stockport where the head teacher is welcoming the move.
These 11-year-olds at Broadstone Hall Primary School are busy preparing for their science SATs tests, which will take place next week. They'll sit those alongside more than 500,000 other primary school children across England. But they could be among the last group to do so because the tests are being scrapped and replaced by teacher ongoing assessment. Andrew Heaton is the head teacher here. Andrew, the school's done very well in its science SATs in the past. What do you think of the plans to scrap it?
Well, at the moment, all schools in the country are facing a national curriculum that's overloaded and unmanageable. So clearly this has to be taken as good news. It's not going to marginalise science out of the curriculum. In fact, at the moment, science is a marginalised subject. We're teaching to a lot of short-term goals and a lot of short-term targets, and this will have a more liberating effect on the way that the subject can be incorporated into all the curriculum subject areas. It will make the subject more relevant, it will make it more meaningful, and I firmly believe that standards will be raised, children will achieve more, and more importantly, they'll be much happier and much more keen and eager scientists.
Okay, Andrew, thank you very much. Now, the science tests are going to be scrapped, partly because the subject was recently downgraded in a report saying that it's no longer one of the 3 core subjects at primary level. Maths and English tests will remain for 11-year-olds, though. The NUT, the National Union of Teachers and National Association of Head Teachers, have said and made it very clear they want to see all SATs tests for 11-year-olds be scrapped after they were scrapped for 14-year-olds after last summer's marking fiasco.
Ben, thank you. Madeleine McCann's parents have put out a new artist's impression of a suspect wanted over the disappearance of their daughter. It shows a man described as very ugly who seemed to be watching the Portuguese apartment where the family was staying in 2007. The image has been drawn up following inquiries by a private investigator who's spoken to a woman holidaying nearby. A man who kept more than 1,000 exotic creatures in his house in Oldham has been jailed. John Ord Clark's home was described as a zoo after animal welfare officers found tanks stacked from floor to ceiling in the upstairs of the 3-bedroom semi in Fitton Hill. Each bedroom housed hundreds of exotic species, including lizards and frogs, with parrots in the living room. The 42-year-old's been sentenced to 3 months in prison and banned from keeping animals for 5 years. Now, it seems true love is alive and well in one part of Salford. Tom and Daisy Morgan from Little Hulton are celebrating being married for an incredible 65 years.
It was Tom's sister's wedding dress. I didn't even know if it would fit me. And the bridesmaid's dress was with a girl that I was with in the Air Force. She lent me a bridesmaid's dress. Both extraordinary, both very resilient, both have gone through quite a few traumas in their life. Recently, he's been on his own in hospital and I've been in hospital. And it's only recently that we've got together in a care home. All my relations from Norfolk came up specially, and relations from Cheshire. It's been gorgeous.
Well, we've had a fairly bright start to the day so far. Looking ahead to the rest of the afternoon and into the weekend now, here's Michelle Eagleton.
Well, we had an absolutely gorgeous morning across Greater Manchester. Is that set to continue this afternoon? Well, a bit of a mixed bag for you. We are going to get a little bit of drizzle, but nothing really to worry about. Those showers will just be very, very short-lived. All in all, a great day to look forward to, and that continues into Thursday night. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, though, what is the outlook for the next couple of days? Well, the start of your weekend, well, a little bit rainy, so you are going to need a brolly for Friday. Saturday, brighten up a little bit more. We're going to have some sunny spells, but Sunday is a bit of a wet washout.
This is Channel M, our top stories. Campaigners will deliver a 100,000-strong petition to the government in the next couple of hours, pushing for the Christie to be given back millions of pounds in missing charity cash. It was invested in an Icelandic bank, which has since collapsed. Police are treating a crash in Bolton that killed a female police officer this morning as murder. The 26-year-old driver of the vehicle, believed to be a police officer with the Cheshire Force, has been arrested. And the government's been criticised for changes to the DNA database. Ministers have announced details to remove innocent people's details, but they would still remain on there for several years. Those are today's headlines, and that was the Lunchtime News. More with Andy Crane from 5 tonight, but from me and the team here, bye-bye for now.